Hi there, everyone. We are now on our daily top 5 gainers and top 5 losers analysis for July 4, 2019. Today is Thursday, and this is in preparation for the next trading day, for the last trading day of the week, Friday. My name is JC De Guzman, so I'm going to give you my technical analysis. We're going to check the status of our 10 SMA and MACD combination, together with the presence of the 4-point criteria, well, of course, if they are present, and then I'm going to give you my overall sentiment and recommendations. Everything that I'm going to say in this video is for short-term trading purposes. Let's begin with the first stock in our list. We have PhilWeb Corporation, or Web. So Web closed today at 4 peso per share. The immediate support is at 3.84. The immediate resistance is at 5 peso per share. Okay, let's zoom out this MACD histogram. So I have verified that the 10 SMA, and MACD combo is true. It remains valid. The 3 out of 4 criteria are present on web with the volume weighted average price of 3.94. Let's check the trade and volume distribution chart of Web if it will complete the presence of the 4-point criteria. And I think it did, or it does, because the dominant range of 3.9 to 4 peso per share is closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. But let's take a look at the true market sentiment and see what it says about Web. This is how the chart looks like. And here's the statistics. I got the statistics here. So we got a neutral sentiment. Why? Why not bullish? Because 4 out of 10 brokers registered a positive net amount. 6 out of 10 brokers registered a higher buying average than selling average. So that makes the neutral sentiment from this true market sentiment analyzer. However, because we got several bullish signals from our other indicators, that bullishness outpowered the neutral sentiment from our true market sentiment analyzer. So my overall sentiment for PhilWeb is still bullish. Besides, the upward momentum is still very strong. It's just that the RSI is already close to its classical overbought level. But by the looks of today's volume, I think this still has gas. It still has enough, if not more than enough gas to make some attempts to draw closer to the resistance at 5 peso per share. Just make sure that you are on top of your trailing stop loss, just in case our data-driven bullish projection will not materialize. Still, you can protect your capital is protected through your trailing stop loss. Okay, so you have some data-driven reasons to enter a new position or to top up on Web. Okay, all right. So next we have Pepsi, or PIP, or PIP. This stock closed today at 1.92. The immediate support is at 1.55. Resistance is at 2.13. The upward momentum remains very strong. RSI is already playing inside the classical overbought level. The 10 SMA and MACD combo is very alive. The 4-point criteria, 3 out of 4 are already present. Let's take a look at PIP's trade and volume distribution chart. All 4 points are present. The dominant range is between 1.87 to 1.92 in favor of the buyers. So that makes a bullish signal. But let's take a look at the true market sentiment. This is how the chart looks like. Now here's the sentiment derived from this chart. We got a bearish sentiment. Why? 4 out of 10 brokers registered a positive net amount. Just 4. Also, 4 out of 10 brokers registered a higher buying average than selling average. So that's not enough for us to get a bullish sentiment from our true market sentiment analyzer. Anyhow, the bullishness of our other indicators trump the neutral sentiment coming from our true market sentiment analyzer. But that neutral sentiment says something about, you know, about us being very careful with our decision, especially if you are just about to enter a new position on PIP. Why? Because again, RSI is already above, it's already trading inside the classical overbought level. So at any moment from here, profit taking could, you know, profit taking can dominate the sentiment, because so many traders already entered a new already are already in position to lock in their profits on PIP, especially those who entered their position around the second to the early week or early days of the third week of June. That was the time when the 10 SMA and MACD combo became true. That was the most recent uh, instance that the 10 SMA and MACD combo was hit. Okay, so be very careful. Yes, you got data-driven reasons to top up or to enter a new position, but I suggest that you should only do that if you have the time to monitor the price movement by the second. If you have really the time to do active trading. So I am bullish on PIP. Next, we have APC. This stock closed today at 0.54. Support is at 0.49. Resistance is at 0.63. The 10 SMA and MACD combo is still very alive. The 3 out of 4 criteria are present. The VWAP is 0.54 or 0.54. We're going to round it off to the nearest hundredth. Now, the upward momentum is still very strong. RSI is drawing closer to the classical overbought level. Let me add this as well, that APC has a moderate risk level. Now, let's take a look at APC's trade and volume distribution chart to see if it completes the presence of the 4-point criteria. The dominant range here is between 0.52 to 0.55. That's in favor of the buyers. Therefore, it completes the presence of the 4-point criteria. The true market sentiment chart looks like this, and this is what it says about APC. It's neutral as well. Why neutral? Because only 5 out of 10 brokers registered a positive net amount, and 7 out of 10 brokers registered a higher buying average than selling average. And combining those two, we will get a neutral sentiment for APC. Partially, I speculate that partially that's because RSI is already closer, no, not closer, it's already drawing closer to the classical overbought level. So again, be very careful, especially to those of you who are just about to enter a new position on APC. For those of you who have had APC for a few days or weeks already, it should not be an alarming thing for you, because you can already your gains are already locked in through your trailing stop loss. Again, even though you have some data-driven reasons to top up or to enter a new position, be very careful and watchful on your trailing stop loss. If you do not have the time to monitor the price movement by the second, I suggest not to enter a new position on APC. Okay? But I am bullish on APC. Now let's move on to the next stock. We have CLI. This stock closed today at 5.19. It broke above its previous resistance at 5.11, which is now acting as its immediate support. Now, the historical resistance, there is a midterm resistance at 5.4 as a precursor to the psychological resistance at 5.95, which is in confluence with the 61.8% extension of our up Fibonacci. The 10 SMA and MACD combo remains alive. 3 out of 4 criteria are present with a volume weighted average price of 5.15. The upward momentum is not yet very strong because the ADX is still below 25 points. RSI is still distant from the classical overbought level. Let's take a look at CLI's trade and volume distribution chart. The dominant range is between 5.19 to 5.23. That's closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. Therefore, that completes the presence of the 4-point criteria. How about the true market sentiment chart? What does it say about CLI? Let's find out. So, since it got a bullish overall sentiment. Why? Because 7 out of 10 brokers registered a positive net amount. Also, 6 out of 10 brokers registered a higher buying average than selling average. That's how the bullish sentiment was uh, formulated, or how it was derived from this chart. So, my overall sentiment for CLI is bullish. You have some data-driven reasons to top up or to enter a new position. Again, if you are just about to enter a new position, always remember that there's another process that you have to go through, which is the calculation of your reward to risk ratio. If you are happy with your reward to risk ratio, then that's the time that you should do a test buy within the dominant range. If you are not happy with the reward to risk ratio, by all means, do not enter a new position. It's more like, for me, based on my synthesis on all of these signals that we have checked, I think a CLI is still more likely to test the resistance at 5.41 or 5.4. Okay, next we have Abacor again. So ABA closed today at 1.05. The immediate support remains at 0.89, which is in confluence with a 61.8% retracement of our up Fibonacci. The resistance is at 1.10. The 10 SMA and MACD combo is still very alive. 3 out of 4 points are present with a volume weighted average price of 1.03. The upward momentum remains strong. RSI is still very close to the classical overbought level. Profit taking was dominated the day last July 1, because that was the time when RSI went above the classical overbought level already. I'd like to remind the newbie traders that Abacor has a high risk level. If you are a newbie trader, I suggest that you stick with low risk level stocks, meaning to say those are the stocks with a historical volatility score that's lower than 50%. Okay, lower than 50%. Abacor has a historical volatility score of 93%, FYI. Okay, so let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution chart of this stock. The dominant range is between 1.02 to 1.04. That's closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. The true market sentiment chart looks like this, and the overall sentiment is neutral. Why neutral? Because only 5 out of 10 registered a positive net amount. Also, 5 out of 10 brokers registered a higher buying average than selling average. So, the bulls and the bears are still eavesdropping, or they are still playing a tug of war. So we can feel a sign of an indecision within these buyers and sellers for the past 3 trading days. So there's an indecision. So everyone is still eavesdropping with each other, trying to find or trying to uh, check if someone is willing to buy Abacor at a price closer, if not higher than 1.09. So What does this mean? If you have had Abacor, I suggest that you hold your position, but don't top up yet. Well, don't top up yet as far as today's EOD data are concerned. It can be a different recommendation once things change tomorrow as the last trading day of the week. So hold your position if the price is still moving above your trailing stop loss. Don't top up yet because profit taking could dominate the sentiment again since the RSI is what? 4 points away, 4 to 5 points away from the classical overbought level. Okay? Everyone is still eavesdropping with each other. Does this mean you can enter a new position? No, not yet. Be on a wait and see mode, at least for now. You can request for the stock's freshest or newest trade and volume distribution and true market sentiment charts tomorrow in our private clients forum. Okay? I am bullish, but I'm telling you to be risk averse or be very, very careful. So don't top up, don't enter a new position just yet. Okay? So that's it for Abacor. Next we have SSI. This stock closed today at 3.30. Well, actually, you know what? I used SSI as one of my model stocks during the Evergreen Strategy in Trading the Philippine Stock Market seminar in Angeles City, Pampanga last Saturday. I mentioned in that seminar not to buy SSI yet because of the big possibility for the price to drop, and it actually did. Okay, so that's the power of the methodology that we are using, that I'm teaching you guys. So those who attended that seminar who are currently subscribers, I do hope you can now start to appreciate the methodologies that I have been teaching you and which I'm also using whenever I assist you in your decision making. Okay, so moving forward, the 10 SMA and MACD combo is no longer true in this case because the price already dove below the 10-day simple moving average. Of course, we're not going to check if the 4-point criteria are present because we are already seeing a red candlestick and a red volume bar. And for sure, the price closed below the VWAP of 3.35. Okay, the negative DMI already crossed above the positive DMI, and the downtrend momentum is already very strong. Take note of that. Okay, it's also noteworthy that foreign investors acted as contrarians today. Why did I say that? They registered. It's because they registered a net foreign buying worth 162 million pesos. They like that drop in price. Well, let's check on our trade and volume distribution and true market sentiment chart. The dominant range is between 3.3 to 3.35. It's in favor of the sellers. Here's the true market sentiment chart. This is how the chart looks like, and here's the sentiment derived from this chart. It's a neutral sentiment. Why? 5 out of 10 brokers registered a positive net amount, while 6 out of 10 brokers registered a higher buying average than selling average. Okay, so neutral. But my advice is that if you have had SSI, I suggest that you lock in your profits once your trailing stop loss gets hit. And I also see a data-driven reason for you to preempt your trailing stop loss. If you are in doubt about it, maybe you can sell a few tranches or half of your total holdings if it's a sizable portion. Okay, sell a few tranches or half of it if it's sizable. And if you cannot stomach selling everything or by preempting your trailing stop loss, but I don't suggest topping up yet. Despite the contrarian move of the foreign investors. Okay? Why? Because the price could go cheaper than what we saw today as far as the data that we have are concerned. How about those of you who are planning to enter a new position? Would you like to mimic the action of the foreign investors today? I would suggest that you be on a wait and see mode on SSI. Consider the idea of entering a new position once the 4-point criteria are present. Well, that is if you can't wait for the 10 SMA and MACD combo to be validated again. At least wait for the 4-point criteria. Okay? So there you go for my advice for SSI. Next, we have MWIDE. MWIDE closed today at 18.32. It broke below the previous support at 18.74, which is now acting as its immediate resistance. The current support is now at 16.55. The 10 SMA and MACD combo has already been invalidated. And the negative DMI is above the positive DMI. RSI is very close to its classical oversold level. Is it time to buy, to enter a new position just because RSI is close to the classical oversold level? No. This could get more oversold than this. Okay? So don't hurry. Don't hurry. At least wait for the appearance of the 4-point criteria if you don't have the patience to wait for the confirmed resurrection, so to speak, of our 10 SMA and MACD combo. Okay, this is very see this downtrend channel here. I just did not draw a downtrend channel, but it's clearly in a downtrend. So for what it's worth, let me show you MWIDE's trade and volume distribution chart. Here you go. The dominant range is between 18.32 to 18.38. It's clearly in favor of the sellers. The true market sentiment chart looks like this. And here's what it says about this chart. It is bearish also. 5 out of 10 brokers registered a positive net amount, while 3 out of 10 brokers registered a higher buying average than selling average. Therefore, you got a bearish sentiment for MWIDE. Don't enter a new position. And I'm not going to give any piece of advice for those who may still have had MWIDE, because I don't see a logical reason for me to give you any advice, because nobody should have entered a position on MWIDE start beginning the 3rd to last week of May. Okay, I am bearish on MWIDE. It could get more oversold than it is right now. Don't hurry. Next, we have PHA. This is stock closed today at 0.91. Support is at 0.78. Resistance is at 1.25. The 10 SMA and MACD combo is still alive. Wow. Despite the stock's inclusion in the top 5 losers list, it's still alive, the 10 SMA and MACD combo. Let's check now. Let's check the trade and volume distribution chart of PHA. Here you go. The dominant range is between 0.91 to 0.94. Most part of it is closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. What does it say? What does the true market sentiment say about this stock? This is the true market sentiment chart, and this is what it says about PHA. We got a bearish sentiment. Why? Because only 4 out of 10 brokers registered a positive net amount. Only 4 of the top 10 brokers. Now, 5 of the top 10 brokers registered a higher buying average than selling average. That's how we got a bearish sentiment for PHA. So don't enter a new position yet. If the stock is still trading above your trailing stop loss, hold your position but do not top up yet unless and until the 4-point criteria becomes visible again. Okay? Be very disciplined, please, so you don't regret your actions later. Okay, next we have CNPF. This stock closed today at 14.5. It broke below its previous support at 14.54, which is acting as its immediate resistance right now. Should it decide to go back above its previous resistance, the 16.52 will then stand as its immediate resistance. But for now, your resistance is at 14.54, while support is at 12.88. Let me just zoom in the chart so you can see where that 12.88 is rooted. The 10 SMA and MACD combo has already been invalidated, and the downward momentum is getting stronger, although it's not yet very strong. It's getting there. That's what I'm trying to say. RSI is downward sloping. Okay, it's downward sloping already. Let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution chart. The dominant range with respect to the closing price of 14.5 is between, let's see, your dominant range is between 14.56 to 14.6. 14.56 to 14.6. But nonetheless, if we're going to base everything on the, oh yeah, it's still closer. It's still closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. So therefore, this is still bearish. But let's take a look at its true market sentiment chart if it agrees with that bearish synthesis. This is how the chart looks like, and this is what it says about the chart. It's bearish as well. Why? Because only 4 of the top 10 brokers registered a positive net amount. Also, only 4 out of the top 10 brokers registered a higher buying average than selling average. So, therefore, don't touch CNPF yet. If you have CNPF and still trading above your trailing stop loss, I suggest that you hold your position. Hold your position. Although I don't see yet a sufficient data-driven reason for you to preempt your trailing stop loss. So just hold your position. Once it gets hit, sell. For now, if it's still above your TSL, just hold your position. For those of you who are planning to enter a new trade on CNPF, put that plan into the parking lot for now. Don't proceed yet. Okay, last in our list, we have Emperador. EMP closed today at 7.59. Support is at 7.25. Resistance is at 7.77. RSI almost touched the classical overbought level, and I think that's what caused the profit taking to happen today. Okay, the 10 SMA and MACD combo has already been invalidated. Okay, it has already been invalidated. Let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution chart. Your dominant range is between 7.59 to 7.64. That's closer, or that's in favor of the sellers. How about the trade and volume distribution chart? Wow, this is the irony of it. Do you already have an idea what's the overall sentiment is? I think your guess is as good as mine. Let's find out. It's bullish. Why? Why? Take a look at this. 9 out of 10 brokers, 9 of the top 10 brokers registered a positive net amount. 8 of the top 10 brokers registered a higher buying average. Wow. That's just a wow, right? So why did it end up in red? Well, it's because the total turnover value of wealth securities outnumbered the collective total turnover value of the other members of the top 10 players list. That's the numerical explanation, so to say. Okay? But let's go back to the chart. What does this mean? When wealth securities decided to be lone seller of PMP today. Those nine members of the top 10 list decided to buy what EMP sold. So what does this mean for retail investors like you and I? Shall we buy the dip? Well, not yet. Not yet. Okay? I suspect that the price could still go lower than 7.59. It could get closer to 7.5, where the 50-day simple moving average is plotted. So let's not hurry. Let's wait for the appearance of the 4-point criteria before we decide to do a test buy on Emperador. If it's still trading above your trailing stop loss, hold your position, but don't top up yet. Do I see a data-driven reason to preempt your trailing stop loss? No. No. Don't be alarmed yet. Just hold your position if it's still trading above your TSL. Guys, if you're planning to enter a new position, again, let me repeat this, don't do that yet. Wait for the 4-point criteria to become 100% present. Okay? You gotta be, you get to back all of your decisions up with a data-driven basis. It's a lot easier to make decisions when you are data-oriented instead of just instinct-based. Okay, so you heard my analysis, overall sentiment, and recommendations for these 10 stocks. And if you have some questions, you can post them inside our private clients forum. For those of you who are subscribers for 1 year and you are from La Union, Pangasinan, or anywhere in Baguio or Benguet, I'll see you this coming Saturday in Baguio City. I'll talk about the evergreen strategy in trading the Philippine stock market for 4 straight hours. I suggest that you attend because you are entitled to a 50% discount to this seminar. Attend the seminar. It's actually a prerequisite to your subscription. It will allow you to have a deeper understanding behind the rationality behind the logic of the methodologies that I have been teaching you since day one. It's a lot easier to understand this concept when you hear me, explain this spontaneously in person than through, text-based communication in our private clients forum or even through email. See you this coming Saturday in Baguio. If you'd like to know the schedule and the venue, just click on seminars and then hit the option for Baguio. Well, let's find out where it is. So in Baguio, it's in Microtel Inn, Upper Session Road, Baguio, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Okay, together, let's learn what's not on Google. See you there. Again, my name is JC De Guzman. Have a profitable trading day tomorrow. Bye for now.